Hi Stampers, this is super awesome stamper Shirley Merker. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Sun Prairie, Wisconsin, USA. In this video, I will show you how to create these greeting cards from these paper crafting kits. It's part of my Kits in the Mail program for May 2021. Full details and ordering of these kits are on my blog at superawesomestamper.com. Just look for the photo and click on the photo and you'll get all the details for these kits. So we are going to assemble one by one. So you got these 3 kits in your envelope. So go ahead and pull out the supplies, but actually we are going to do all the cutting first. So we need to cut these angles on the cards, and your template is in the Night of Navy kit for this one. So grab this square out of the Night of Navy kit and then set that Night of Navy kit aside. And then pull out your card bases from each of the kits. We'll assemble this kit first, so I'll pull this kit out. There. Pull this one back in. Pull that Night of Navy base out. All right, so I've scored everything for you. So this is a card base that measures 4 1/4 by 11. Scored at 5 1/2 and scored at 2 1/8. All right, so we're working on the scoring side. I'm going to work with the yellow one here. And what you want to do is bend that score mark a little bit so that you can have a guide where you're going to line up these corners. I'm going to pull in my paper snips and I'll show you and describe what I'm doing. I'm lining up the corner of this 3 by 3 inch square to the line of the score mark and then also the tip up here. All right, and bend that back and see where you're at. You got your tips lined up pretty well. Just move it back a little bit if you need to. Flip that back up. Grab your paper snips. And cut this edge off. I found this is the easiest way to cut this off using this 3 by 3 inch basic white square as a guide. Okay, and now we've got that flap, and then you will also use this triangular shape that you just cut off as a guide to cut the back off. And you can pull on your paper trimmer if you feel more comfortable using that. Just like that. Now you've got one of these done. What you could do is line up that. So now you've got a template and cut that off and cut that off. Or come back and do the one at a time. All right, so I'm going to swipe these aside and you stop the video and go ahead and cut those angles off. That way you've got those done and they're ready for the next kit. Okay, so let's proceed with assembling this kit. The base is Bumblebee card color, and here's what's included in the kit. So let's take a look again where everything goes. So we've got 2 pieces of this white, measures 3 by 4 inches. One's for the inside and one's for the outside. We'll need to do some stamping on that. So let's pull in our stamping supplies. I'm using the Blackberry Bliss ink pad because Blackberry Bliss is one of the colors on the pattern paper. And the stamps that I'm using come from the Hydrangea Haven stamp set. It's a photopolymer stamp set, so it's perfect for positioning the sentiments just right where you want it. Grabbing my paper pierce mat because it's always better to have a little cushion when you're using photopolymer stamps. It helps to transfer that ink from the stamp to the paper a little better, a little more even. All right. That's for the inside. And then for the outside, we've got this little for you right at the top. I'll pull that a little closer to me and try to make sure I get that straight. There. All right, so that's it. Blackberry Bliss ink pad is what I used. Hydrangea Haven stamps. Get that out of the way. Okay, dump that down. Next, before I start assembling, you'll notice we have 4 of these triangulars now, and I really like to use all my scraps on a card if I can. So what I did was I processed those through the embossing machine using the Ornate Floral Embossing Folder. So I'm going to step away and do that and come back. This pattern is kind of every which way, so it doesn't really matter how you lay those in your embossing folder, just so that they're one single layer, and run it through. And here they've been embossed. So I always encourage you to use your embossing folder. You got it in your stash. Doesn't add anything, doesn't add any additional cost to your card by using an embossing folder. So we got some 4 little triangles in those little flowers. All right, so I think we're ready to start assembling. Now you can decide if you want to assemble according to how I layered everything up, or you can do something totally different. So I've got the triangles, top and bottom on that panel, 1 over here, and 1 over there. And my light fell over. All right. So since I have embossed pieces, I will be using my green glue. And oh, actually I had these positioned so that the flat edge is towards the top, so you can see more of the pattern. It also gives kind of a pleated look. And one thing I like about using our green glue, the Tombow liquid glue, is that you can kind of move it into position wherever you'd like it. Gives you a few seconds to kind of move it, center it, put it where you need it. And I don't go all the way to the edge on the green glue because it will squish out. So as I'm applying pressure, it kind of pushes the green glue out towards the edge. I think I'm done with the green glue. I will switch to my tape runner. So this is the Stampin' seal. Oops. Press that down a little bit. Oh, and I got glue all over there. Let's see here. Let me grab. Actually, let me put that down. Just use my finger and kind of there. That triangle was not glued down all the way, so that white kind of slipped underneath there. All right, now grab your bone folder, and I would recommend creasing that fold down so it's a little easier to assemble. Next is this layer. So that's on the front. And then you may have gotten various pattern pieces in your kit. May not be exactly what I'm showing, because Stampin' Up! Packages paper so it's convenient for the customer. You get a lot of designs and just a few sheets of each. So it's not always easy for demonstrators to create these kits and get you the same exact pattern. So you can decide which pattern you want up. I still like this yellow pattern, the yellow flowers, although these dandelions on the other side is pretty as well. I just like the lighter color. And then this is going to be the front piece. I always opt for colorful patterns up. That way I don't have to do any coloring. Oop, did I get any adhesive on there? All right. Flip this shut. and place this towards the bottom. I'm just leaving a little bit of white on the bottom showing through. And then place this overlapping the pattern paper and just a little bit below your words. All right, let's see what else you've got left in your kit. You've got a couple of punched dragonflies and a little ladybug trinket and some of our thick baker's twine. So I placed the dandelions, the dragonflies on my pleats. And if you're placing your large dragonfly on your pleat, just put some green glue over the center of the body because the wings are going to be hanging off of your card. So you don't want to get glue on the exposed parts of the wings. And then the little one, just a little bit there. I'm going to shut it so that I get that position where I want it. And then, little ladybug trinket is not self-adhesive, so grab your glue dots, press down. I just placed it just to bring your eye up to the words a little bit. And then your baker's twine. This is like a flat baker's twine, so I tried to keep it flat on the back and flip it over and bring it around and kind of bring your tails to meet. And you can kind of judge your, should we put the knot down there or up here again? I think I'm going to put it down here just to give you an idea of a different position where you can put that. And I should be able to tie a bow on camera, not a bow, a knot. There. Bows are kind of challenging, but there's my knot. So you can decide where you want to put your knot, below your ladybug or above your ladybug. Kind of depends on where you stamped your verse. My verse on the sample I just did is kind of to the left a little bit, so I'll probably leave the knot down there. All right, so that's the first one. Let me clean off and I'll bring the second one back into frame. All right, here's the second card that we'll be assembling. So I've already cut off the corners here. And my first step will be to bone fold this crease back. So go ahead and stop the video and cut your corners off if you have not done so already. And let me pull this in. So we've got a bit of stamping to do. Now you need to add your own inks and stamps. Stampin' Up! Does not allow us to include stamped images in our kits. And besides that, I know you want to do your own stamping. So you decide where you want to put your stamping and what verses you want to add. I am using verses from the In Bloom stamp set, the Happy Birthday, You're Really the Best, and You Are Amazing. That's the one we're gonna using today. These clear cello bags that I've packaged your kits in, you can go ahead and mail your card in that. Be aware your post office may ask you to put an additional postage stamp on it. Some offices are a little more picky about that, but if you mail flat things in your clear envelopes, they should mail with one postage stamp. You can also keep the clear envelopes to store your cards in your idea file. All right, so You Are Amazing. This piece of basic white is measured 3 by 3. I already used the Stitch with Whimsy die on it for you. So I've got the sentiment at an angle. And then the inside piece. And I'm using the Night of Navy ink pad. Again, grabbing that paper piercing mat because I'm using photopolymer stamps. And I got a little bit of shadow right there. Let's flip it over. There. I must have something on my, yep, I have a piece of lint on my stamp. That's what was causing that. Oh well, that's what we're going to use. This is a really fun card. They're never going to know there was a little bit of lint on my stamp. Okay, so you got my business card in your kit. Keep that handy in case you want to place an order. Follow up with me on my blog. My email address is there as well. If you'd like to be added to my email list, just send me an email and I'll go ahead and add you to my list. I email a few times a month when Stampin' Up! Announces their promotions, and then usually include my stamp happenings in that same email. All right, so I can just start attaching some glue here all at once. Economy in print in motion here. I stamp and seal on all 3 pieces that I need. So this is the layer onto this card side. Next one's going to be the multicolor circles. And then the outsides will be this floral. You decide, you kind of look and see the floral pattern's different on all of the pieces, so you figure out which way your floral pattern will go. And then let's pull all my pieces back in. There are 2 strips of this Rococo Rose, 1/2 inch by 4 inches. And I'll mention the pattern pieces, and that white on this card again is 3 by 4 inches. So this adds just a nice little detail right here. There, just made it. Just made it on that side. And then this piece will go to the left here, kind of anchoring both sides of the card, pulling some of the colors in at the same time. All right, next up is our square. So our square is going to be attached to this pleat. So we don't put adhesive on this side. So I recommend that you actually put your adhesive on the pleat. That way you don't get the adhesive where you don't want it. And that just nests tightly over that triangle. Oh, here we go. So I'm holding my fingers on the edge of the Night of Navy and kind of nestling in the Whisper White. That way it's positioned where I want it on that card. All right, so we need to start layering up a few things. We've got our 3 basic pearls. And I tuck them into the corner down here. One in the corner and then one on either side. Adds visual interest. 3 things are always add visual interest with the power of 3. Okay, now you got a whole mess of flowers. It may or may not be what I'm showing you, but you got a whole mess. You decide how you want to layer all these up. All right, I found my triangles, so I'm going to show you how I layered everything up, and you do whatever you'd like with the kit pieces that are provided. All of these shapes are from the Pierce Blooms die cutting set. It coordinates with that In Blooms stamp set that we are using on this card as well. So this tag shape, and then the blue, and then I had the two of the leaves, looks like the larger ones, and then the largest flower, and then a little blushing bride center. So that's the layer for that card. So just go ahead and layer that up. Again, taking note where you put some adhesive, you might just want to put it on this square so you don't get it on the part of the tag that's not on the basic white piece. Okay. And the reason to use these blue triangles, the Night of Navy triangles, is because you don't want to add them to your scrap bin. And they will add a little bit of visual interest. I recommend that you use a tape runner when you're attaching these flower shapes because they are pierced, just like the die cut name indicates. So liquid glue will ooze out. And then I will most likely hand deliver this card. So we're gonna pop some stuff up. Hand deliver it or tuck it inside of an package. Pop it up. And then your little circle you can attach with a glue dot. All right, let's flip this shut. Oh, open. Work on the inside. All right, so I told you I'm going to use this additional square. May as well use it. Add a little bit of color and visual interest on this side. And then it won't go in our scrap bin. And then the additional leaves. Kind of had them angled to the left there. Is that one gonna, oh, yep, that one's gonna get crushed. You move that up a little bit, in a little bit. There we go. And then I layered the next largest one, and then the spiky one and the round one on there. And again, you decide what you'd like to do with your pieces. This is just how I'm assembling them. I gave you a lot of options of flowers in this kit because I wanted to share how many pieces are in this die cut set. So I used all the pieces except for these pieces in your kit. So it's called Pierced Blooms, and again it coordinates with the stamp set in bloom that I'm using on this card as well. Okay, and then over here you've got a leaf, and most of this leaf is going to be covered up, and it's so delicate. We're just going to attach some adhesive there, and then flip these over. Oh, I got an extra one here because I thought I was missing a piece, and I went and got additional pieces when I found the blue. All right, so layer that there, kind of cover up your adhesive. And the solid one over that, and then the inner one over that, just for contrast. All right, so there's the Night of Navy kit, my sample card, and the one I just created with you. Again, this is called the Diamond Fold card. It will fit in a regular A2 envelope or the clear envelope that I gave you in your kit. All right, let's work on the last kit. So the ice cream corner kit. I think this is my favorite one, but I love ice cream. I used to work at Dairy Queen a long time ago, creating a lot of curly whips. All right, so dump everything out. And see what you got. I'm using the Bermuda Bay ink pad along with the Poppy Parade ink pad. And again, first thing would be to bone fold this score mark down so it lays a little more flat while you're assembling. You could probably bone fold this score mark on that side as well. Okay, so let's see what you got. Again, economy in doing things. Decide which pattern you want up. We're not going to adhesive this one yet. There. Okay, so where is my tape runner? Right here. All right, and the outside piece is the fun popsicles. And then the inside pieces are this pattern piece. You decide which way you want. Up that pattern. It's just supposed to look like melty popsicles, I think. All right, and then locate your triangles. I need to go and locate those. Here we go. We're going to use all 4 again, but I'm not going to emboss them this time. Go ahead and embossing if you'd like that look. So this square will be attached to this flap, but it's not all the way to the edge this time. We're leaving a little bit of a mat. So grab your tape runner and don't put tape all the way to the edge, just in the center there. All right, and then 2 of these squares or triangles will be added right there. And I'm going to grab my liquid glue again. That way I have a few seconds to move these in place. Oh, and I grabbed the glue that's almost out there. So flip it over. And now I'm just trying to eyeball it, making sure I've got the same amount of mat along the whole outside, and that looks pretty good. And then to cover up this seam, I've got this ribbon. It was actually from the fall of last year, but I think it coordinated perfectly with the popsicle sticks. So all I did was use a strip of adhesive over the seam. Okay, and let's pull in the last things here. Let's work on the inside, as long as I got all these little pieces. So again, a strip of ribbon down here. Bring in some of the outside in. And then as long as I've got my tape runner going, put some adhesive on the triangles. Those triangles are just adding a monochromatic look on this pleat on the right side this time. So I gave you 3 different ways to decorate your little pleat. So I hope you like them. I like to give you a lot of options and a lot of color in my kits. So this ribbon might be a little long, so just grab your paper snips. They're super sharp. Custom cut that off if you need to, so it doesn't get stuck in the seam. And then you've got 2 of these little punch shapes, the hearts. While I'm filming this video, this heart punch is part of a punch pack that's on the clearance rack. So I'm not sure if they'll be still there when this video airs, but make sure you always check the clearance rack when you place orders through my online store, because you might find a few things you might have missed when they were in the catalog, when the catalog was live. And this is a part of a punch pack that's got a bat and a leaf and the heart, and there's probably a flower in there. All right, flip that shut. So the rest of the items go on the front. All right, so let's grab in our stamp, paper piercing mat. Taught you that throughout this video. You need to grab your paper piercing mat when you're using the photopolymers. So you melt my heart. Right there. Bermuda Bay ink pad. Shut that up so I don't get ink everywhere. And then a sponge dauber to get some ink on the outside of that. And the sponge daubers, you can just rinse under the tap water and let air dry, or just keep them in the same color family. That helps too. They stain a color, so like this one's always my reddish dauber. Okay. And this stamp came from the Sweet Ice Cream stamp set. So you can certainly stamp some images on this white if you've got the stamp set. All right, so going to put actually 2 dimensionals on this one. I want it to stay attached to the ribbon so that it provides a little more adhesive and a little more pop-in power. Okay, and then I gave you a strip of rhinestones. There should have been 6 in your kit. Power of 3 again, twice on your card. So bottom corner on that cinnamon cider cardstock and upper corner. Just provides a little bit of sparkle that we need. And that's it. This is my Diamond Fold kits in the mail for May 2021. Thank you for purchasing kits. If I still have kits available, they'll be on my blog at superawesomestamper.com. There'll be a link below in my video description to my blog where these kits are for sale. And while you're on my, where's the last one here? While you are on my YouTube channel, make sure you like and subscribe so you're notified when I load new content. Again, thanks for stamping with me. This is Super Awesome Stamper, Shirley Merker. Bye.